Hello and welcome to the Grand Canyon National Park. I'm your tour guide, JQ Rose. Thanks for joining me for a very quick peek at this historic and amazing place. My husband and I toured the Southwest this summer for 2 weeks. We had never been to the Four Corners area. We saw vistas very different from our Michigan lakes and trees. We flew into Las Vegas, Nevada at a toasty 111 degrees or 44 Celsius to begin our adventure through Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah. On the map, you can see the Grand Canyon National Park is located in Arizona's northwestern quadrant. This is our trusty rental car, a Mazda 2. Before the trip, I worried about driving a rental car through the desert and mountains, but I shouldn't have. The car's air conditioning carried us through the heat of the desert, and the 4-cylinder engine climbed up and down and around the mountains with no problems. Now sit back in your armchair and join me for a short tour of some of the highlights of our trip through the Grand Canyon National Park. "5 million visitors make the trip to the canyon each year. Most go to the South Rim, the most accessible place, which is 7,000 feet above sea level. The 1-mile deep canyon is quite an attraction. It is 277 river miles long and up to 18 miles wide. This is just one of the regal elks we saw in the park. Just look at the size of that rack. That would give me a headache. These elk families were all over the park and ignored all of us tourists. In fact, one morning, a family of elks grazed next to McDonald's while we were eating breakfast across from our hotel. This national park is one of the most popular tourist destinations in the United States. I can verify that, judging by the crowds of Americans and citizens from all over the world enjoying the natural beauty surrounding us. But the huge amount of visitors was never a problem. Free park shuttles offer excellent, timely service to sites throughout the park. The Grand Canyon had a long road to becoming a national park until President Theodore Roosevelt made multiple visits to the area, then declared the Grand Canyon a national monument in 1908. The bill to grant national park status was passed in 1919 and signed by then President Woodrow Wilson. When I stepped off the shuttle bus for my first glimpse of the Grand Canyon, something I have looked forward to my whole life, I was disappointed when I tried to see the canyon from the bus stop. But as I made my way along the path to Maricopa Point Overlook, the canyon jolted me with all its glory. In fact, I was terrified to walk to the end of the point, overwhelmed by the vastness of the canyon and dizzied by the depth of it, even if a haze blanketed the deepest parts of the canyon. Then, once my heart stopped rattling in my chest, I calmed down and appreciated this ancient creation. If you're interested in geology, you'll especially love having the opportunity to see the exposed ancient layers of rock. No need to dig up the ground to see these normally buried formations. The colors were spectacular. We returned to the hotel in the afternoon to escape the heat. Then, on that beautiful evening, we explored the drive through the park in our car rather than taking the shuttle. The crowds had thinned and there was no problem finding parking places throughout the park. One of the places we discovered was the Native American Arts and Crafts Building, Hopi House. Hopi House is the first of 8 architectural projects at the Grand Canyon designed by Mary Coulter, a creative, trailblazing woman architect in the early 1900s. She designed the building to resemble a traditional pueblo. The Hopi, as the historic inhabitants of the area, were chosen as the featured artists. Entering the building, I was overwhelmed at the diversity of native crafts available for sale. The colors and quality of the work were amazing. Take a peek at just a few examples. This is a photo of the El Tovar Hotel, located just west of Hopi House. The Hopi House opened on January 1st, 1905, 2 weeks before the landmark hotel. Can you imagine making a trip to this area in one of these vehicles and traversing the rough roads? The hotel, another work of art by Mary Coulter, is constructed of limestone and pine to evoke the style of a Swiss chalet and Norwegian villa. This is the back of the hotel, which faces the canyon. How would you like to wake up in the morning and see a vista like this from your hotel room? This little visitor was enjoying the view with us, too. The building across the way is another Coulter creation built in her style that reflected her vision of natural constructions. They were often modeled after Native American themes. My photos can't possibly capture the beauty and grandeur of these vistas and vast place of wonder. I hope you at least got the flavor of the setting and the sense of history of this very special national park. Thanks for joining me today. I would like to say a huge thank you to those visionaries who set aside lands 100 years ago for future generations to experience the awe-inspiring nature and history of our national parks, monuments, trails, and lakeshores. Now we need to do our part to keep these treasures alive and shining into the next century and beyond. Thank you, National Park Service, for being the caretakers of our past and future, and wish you a happy 100th birthday and many more.